In old Korea, there was a punishment reserved for the truly unforgivable. 4 oxen, 4 ropes, 1 body. They called it Gyeorail-yong, to be torn apart while the village watched. This is the story of the woman who earned it. But first, you need to understand who she destroyed. Kongjwi was 7 years old when her mother died, coughing blood into silk.
Mother, don't close your eyes, please.
Her father, a low-ranking official, remarried within the year. He told himself it was for Kongjwi's sake. He was wrong. The new wife brought her own daughter, Patjwi, same age as Kongjwi, same house, but never the same treatment.
Kongjwi-ya, from today you sleep in the kitchen. My Patjwi needs a proper room.
Kongjwi's father said nothing. He looked away. He always looked away. And then he died too. A fever took him one winter, and Kongjwi was alone. With the father gone, the stepmother dropped every pretense. Kongjwi became the house servant. She cooked, she cleaned, she carried water from the well before dawn. Her hands cracked and bled in winter.
Sister, you missed a spot. Oh, wait. You missed everywhere.
If this rice has a single stone in it, you don't eat tonight.
But Kongjwi never complained. She sang her mother's songs while she worked, and the birds in the courtyard would answer. Then came the tests. Not tests of love, tests of cruelty.
Kongjwi, fill this jar with water from the stream. If it's not full by sundown, you sleep outside.
The jar had a crack at the bottom. Every trip to the stream, every bucket poured in. It drained away. Kongjwi carried water until her back screamed, until her knees buckled. She sat beside the empty jar and cried. And then a fat toad crawled out of the mud. It pressed its body into the crack. It sealed the jar. By sundown, the jar was full. The stepmother's face twisted. She gave a harder task.
Weed the entire eastern field, every last root, by tomorrow morning.
The field stretched to the horizon. It would take 10 men a week. Kongjwi worked through the night. Her fingers bled into the soil. And just before dawn, a black ox appeared from the mist. Without a sound, it plowed every row. It pulled every root. By sunrise, the field was clean.
Whole 3 sacks of rice with this.
She handed Kongjwi a pestle cracked in half. Useless, mocking. But this time, Kongjwi didn't cry. She started working. And hundreds of sparrows descended from the sky. They pecked the husks from every grain. 3 sacks, husked clean.
Something is helping that wretched girl.
Spring came. The governor announced a grand festival, a banquet where every family in the province was invited.
Patjwi, wear the silk hanbok, the blue one with golden butterflies.
Stepmother, may I go too?
You, looking like that? You'd embarrass the family name. Staying clean.
Kongjwi watched them leave, silk and laughter disappearing down the road. She sat by the well and whispered to no one. Mother, I wish you could see the cherry blossoms with me. And the sky answered. A celestial fairy, or perhaps her mother's spirit, descended in a column of light. She dressed Kongjwi in hanbok, the color of moonlight. Silver joggery, pale blue chima that flowed like water, a jade bignot in her hair, and on her feet, silk shoes embroidered with lotus flowers, tiny, perfect. Go, the spirit said, but return before the moon sets. Kongjwi arrived at the banquet like a ghost of spring. Every head turned, every voice hushed. The young magistrate, barely 30, known for his sharp mind and sharper sense of justice, saw her across the courtyard.
Who is that woman? I've never seen her in this province.
They danced, they talked. Kongjwi forgot the kitchen floor, the cracked jar, the bleeding hands. For one night, she was just a girl at a party. But the moon began to set. Kongjwi ran, down the stone steps, past the lanterns, into the dark. And on the 3rd step, her left shoe slipped free. She reached for it, but the magistrate's guards were already chasing. She couldn't stop.
Find her. Search every household in the province. I will find the woman who fits this shoe.
The search took weeks. Every woman in the province tried the shoe. None fit, until the magistrate's men reached the last house on the edge of town.
Let me try. It's mine, I'm sure of it.
It didn't fit. Patjwi's foot was too wide, too rough.
There's no one else here, just us.
But the guard heard singing, faint, from the kitchen. Kongjwi knelt on the kitchen floor, covered in ash. The shoe slid onto her foot like it was made for her, because it was. Kongjwi married the magistrate. For the first time in her life, she slept in a warm room. She ate without fear. She laughed without looking over her shoulder.
Husband, look at the magnolias blooming. I never had time to watch flowers before.
For one season, the world was kind, but Patjwi was watching. And envy is a poison that only grows. It was summer. Patjwi came to visit. All smiles, all sweetness.
Sister, let's go to the lotus pond. Like when we were little. I've missed you.
Kongjwi believed her, because Kongjwi always believed the best in people. That was her gift. And her fatal flaw. At the edge of the pond, surrounded by white lotus flowers, Patjwi put her hands on Kongjwi's back
You took everything that should have been mine.
and pushed. Kongjwi hit the water face first. The heavy silk chima dragged her down. She reached up, her hand broke the surface once, and then nothing. Lotus petals drifted over the place where she sank. Patjwi dried her hands. She walked into the magistrate's house, wearing Kongjwi's clothes.
Husband, I've been at the pond. The lotus flowers are beautiful today.
The magistrate looked at her. Something was wrong. The voice was different. The smile was different. But grief is a strange thing. It makes you accept what you can't explain. Days passed. Patjwi was cruel to the servants. She demanded silk and jewels. She laughed too loudly and never watched the magnolias. Then, in the pond where Kongjwi drowned, a single lotus flower bloomed. It was impossibly large, impossibly beautiful, and it bloomed at night when all other flowers close. The magistrate was drawn to it. Night after night, he sat by the pond, and on the seventh night, he heard a voice from the water.
My love, the woman in your house is not your wife.
The magistrate stumbled back. The lotus flower opened, and from its center, a pale light rose into the shape of Kongjwi. Not alive, not dead. Something between. A spirit bound by injustice.
She pushed me into the water. She wore my clothes. She sleeps in my bed. She calls you husband with my stolen name.
The voice, the laugh, I knew. Somewhere inside, I knew.
The magistrate summoned Patjwi to the courtyard at dawn. Guards stood at every gate.
Where is Kongjwi, my real wife?
I am Kongjwi. What are you talking about? I'm your wife.
My wife watched magnolias every morning. You've never once looked at them. My wife sang while she worked. You only bark orders. My wife's hands were rough from years of labor. Yours are soft.
Patjwi's face crumbled. There was nowhere left to hide. In old Korea, justice was not gentle. Patjwi confessed everything. The drowning, the deception, the stepmother's years of abuse. The magistrate passed judgment according to the old law. Patjwi was bound to 4 oxen in the town's square. The ropes were tied to her wrists and ankles. What happened next? The old texts do not describe in detail. They simply say, she was torn apart, and what remained was made into jutgal and sent to her mother. The stepmother, they say, ate the first bite before she learned what it was. Kongjwi's spirit was released. The lotus flower closed for the last time and sank beneath the water. The magistrate built a small shrine by the pond. Every spring, a single lotus blooms there, out of season, impossibly white. Locals say if you sit by that pond at midnight and listen carefully, you can hear a woman singing. Not a sad song, not a vengeful song, just a lullaby. The one her mother used to sing. This is Kongjwi and Patjwi, Korea's Cinderella. But understand, in the original version, there is no fairy godmother. There is no happily ever after. There is only justice. And in old Korea, Justice had teeth. If you enjoyed this story, please hit subscribe and like. Next time, I'll bring you an even more fascinating tale.